Why don't we start off with Star Wars, though? So we've been talking about Star Wars quite a bit throughout the year. It's one of the more reliable IPs for just getting news out and getting people excited. And of course, Episode 8 is a month away from Friday?
Yeah, month away from Wednesday. It's the 15th.
Wednesday.
12/15.
So it's getting up there, and there's a lot of excitement, even more excitement and more speculation about how good this particular chapter of the Skywalker trilogy, or now like what is it, 9 trilogy
saga,
however you say saga, is going to be, because Rian Johnson was announced as going to be getting his own Star Wars trilogy. Right. And not only getting his own Star Wars trilogy, but it's going to be a story separate from the Skywalkers, which is quite interesting. So Dave, initial thoughts around this, and maybe give me some ideas of what we could be looking at in terms of these movies.
Yeah, it's really exciting just on like a surface level, because when you hear no Skywalkers, you start drifting to like, are we talking thousands of years in the past? Are we talking way in the future? Like, what are we talking about here? And that was kind of the initial appeal of the anthology films when they were announced, is that they would be, separate standalone stories. Of course, now that we know they were more embellishing, enriching movies to the saga, obviously with Rogue One and Han Solo thus far. So the thought of a trilogy that's totally separate is really exciting, because, the galaxy far, far away, it's kind of felt a little small because we keep following around the same family and all the crazy stuff that goes on. And of course, we know the Star Wars galaxy is so much bigger. There's so much there, so much EU legend source material to pull from, that, there's no doubt about the, stories you could tell, that I wouldn't be worried about anything. But yeah, it's very exciting. So what was your take? Because some people are like, is this too much Star Wars? Are we hitting Star Wars saturation? My response to that is, let's let them make a bad one first,
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, from talks, Han Solo might be that movie. But, I think I look at it very much as like Marvel. I feel like they're kind of taking a chapter from them, and they're trying to keep something that's like a through line, which has been, episodes 1 through 8 as of next month. And this is going to be something a little bit different. It's going to be kind of like... I don't know, Black Panther, almost, in a way. Like, I'm sure that if Black Panther is as good as the trailers lead it to look, that will get more movies. But that's not a character that's a mainstream Marvel character, at least not within the movie universe yet. So this is just another opportunity for them to use some creativeness. He's a very driven and creative and upcoming director, to build another piece of this world that I think people will really latch on to. And I agree, if he totally flails and this is a flop, yeah, scrap it, it's fine. But I don't see that happening. I think Rian Johnson's gonna nail this. I know you said you were thinking it's like way in the future, or maybe way in the past, or maybe something that we haven't even thought of yet, or hasn't been even talked about yet. What would you put your money on for right now?
I mean, a lot of fans are clamoring for the Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, beloved video game from 2003, which is set thousands of years before any of the Star Wars movies. Jedi, Sith, lots of conflict going on. It's familiar, but much different, very grand. That's really exciting. And there's, those books, there's a lot's been expounded upon in that era. It's a great comic line. But as much as I'd like to see it as a fan, I kind of question if that's too prequel-y in terms of what's going on, just because there's a Jedi Council in that story. There's tons of Jedi. There's tons of conflict. So I'm not that being prequel is bad, but it have that kind of vibe in terms of the visuals, what you're seeing. So I don't know if Rian Johnson's going to immediately make something so grand and just throw you back that far. But if they wanted to go in the past like that, I think that could be cool. Whether they really want to go like the origin of the Jedi or something really monumental. I think you have to have Jedi and the Force in there in some capacity. But yeah, I don't think a direct adaptation of the Old Republic. Revan obviously is the breakout character from that story, and everyone loves him. But I think we should just leave that alone. And if you want to go back in time that far, but I think they should just go something totally fresh, because it's Johnson and Ram Bergman, his longtime collaborator. They'll be working together, writing all this, directing all this as of right now. So, let them just figure it out, because Johnson's been a huge fan. He loved his time on the set of The Last Jedi. As we said before, there's no negative press. So, let him, concoct something original, because that's seemingly what this would be. And great sign for Disney that they found a director they like, and it was like, hey, do this. We don't have any guidelines for this kind of new trilogy, because again, we don't have a Skywalker or Han Solo legacy to protect.
Right. Yeah, I almost wonder if doing something where they bring in a little bit of both worlds, like exploring a part of the galaxy that is kind of unknown or hasn't even been talked about yet, but bringing that in as like maybe a Jedi who's part of like this Sith versus Jedi war in some way. Maybe he's like an up and coming Jedi, like something like along those lines could be pretty interesting, just to be like almost like fan servicey in a way as well, which I think, especially going off the beaten path, they're going to need something that fans are going to be able to get behind. I don't think it'll be hard, because Star Wars fans are usually fanatics, like literally fanatics about this sort of thing. Do you think that this means that Episode 8 is going to be like the fucking best Star Wars movie ever made?
I think it means close to that. Yes, I think Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, they love what Episode 8 obviously is, and they want more of that touch. I don't see how you could think anything else.
No, yeah, I'm really excited for this movie now. Can't wait for Episode 8. Something that I think.
Well, actually, Pat, there's more to that Disney. They're having a live action Star Wars TV series that'll debut on the Disney streaming service we've mentioned before. That'll be debuted at the end of 2019. Finally, a live action Star Wars show. People have talked about wanting one forever. George Lucas had reportedly over 100 episode scripts done, in the early aughts. The fact that they're finally doing that's really crazy. And there's some other Disney related news that came out that they're going to work on a High School Musical and Monsters Inc. shows for the service, as well as something for Marvel.
Interesting.
And then Bob Iger said that it'll be priced below Netflix's $10.99 a month, because it's going to have less content overall, and they want the price to reflect that. And then they also said they plan to release 4 to 5 original movies for the service.
Damn.
So, while obviously much lower than Netflix, which is producing over 100 films for next year, we're finally getting some information about what the Disney streaming service is going to be. And under $10, by the time the Star Wars show is there, you're going to get a lot of subscribers. So,
definitely.
A cool announcement all around. A lot to be excited about.
Yeah, it's interesting as you think about like how Disney's making such a play for so much IP in the last couple of weeks. I wonder if they're like gearing up to basically be like, either get this channel and get all of our content, or you can't have access to any of it. Like, it'd be really interesting to see how that plays into their. I mean, that's obviously many years down the line for a move like that, but like that's like the end game for them to be like, this is an exclusive thing unless you're paying us.
Yeah, the question that's pretty unclear. You can look up reports trying to tell you otherwise, but it's really uncertain. Is what happens to the Marvel Netflix shows? Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Punisher comes out this Friday. That whole line of them. What happens then? Because they're on Netflix, but they're made by Marvel Television. Does Netflix just distribute them, or does Netflix actually own a stake of them? Obviously, once those shows end their run, would they actually move off Netflix to the Disney streaming service, or they remain on Netflix, in perpetuity, like most other things on Netflix? So that's something that we don't know about, but be interesting to see, because obviously Disney will be pulling all their movies off of Netflix, but will that last Marvel stuff remain? Obviously we'll find out in a few years.